Okay.
I hit that button.
I hit it so good.
That should be like our intro. No, that should be our intro this week. That was great.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to the What's Good Games podcast, your source for video game news, analysis, commentary, and funny stuff. This week, I'm joined as always by my lovely co-host, Miss Brittany Brombacher. Hello! And Miss Christine Steimer.
Hey, what up?
Alexa Ray is under the weather, and so she will not be joining us this week, but we've got lots of fun stuff to talk about nonetheless. It is now officially December, everybody. That is crazy.
I love it. I've been blasting the Christmas music. I had the house decked out. Oh, I just love it.
Same. I'm even wearing my first Christmas sweater of the season. You guys can't see the bottom, but it says Gangsta Rappa for all the people listening. And it's got a pug on it that's got a bow on his head, and it's all sequined.
Rapper
it's
is
so sparkly.
Yes, like Christmas rapper, not like I spit hot rhymes. Because I don't.
You never know. That pug could be great.
I want that on a t-shirt, Andrea.
I spit hot rhymes. As always, a big shout out and thank you to all of our patrons for supporting us and being there for us. We will do our Turbo patron shout outs next week's episode once everything has processed. We've kind of changed up the way that we're doing the collection on Patreon, so we want to make sure we get all of the correct names in order. So look out for that next week. But I do want to mention that if you guys haven't yet voted, the Game Awards are on Thursday, December 7th at 6 p.m. Pacific time. And I'm nominated for an award, and it's really easy to vote. All you have to do is go open your phone or open your computer and open your web browser and type in Trending Gamer Vote. And my face will pop up. You just click on it and hit Submit Vote, and that's it. It literally takes 10 seconds.
Do it.
And if she wins, she's gonna spit some hot rhymes.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just kidding.
I don't know if you want to obligate me to that, because you guys are the ones that are gonna have to listen to my really terrible rhymes. But I'm really excited. I'm going to be doing some hosting at the show, which I'm going to be announcing very soon. So I'm very excited about that. And then we're all going to be there. And we're also all going to be at PSX, the PlayStation Experience 2017 in Anaheim, California, next weekend, December 9th and December 10th. So that's Saturday and Sunday. And we've decided, since we're going to be there, why don't we do a little meet and greet? So if you are planning to go to PSX, or if you just live in the Anaheim area, you do not need a badge to come to our meet and greet. We have decided right now that we're going to meet up with folks at 1:30 p.m., from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. Pacific time in the Marriott lobby bar right next to the convention center. You can't miss it. It's just right there attached to the convention center. So if you guys want to stop by and have a drink, talk about video games, maybe play some video games, because last year I spent a lot of PSX playing Paragon in the lobby with Nick Chester from Epic.
Surprising no one.
Yes, I know. I'm going to talk about that in the hands-on section because I jumped back in over the weekend. But we would love to see you guys. And don't forget, we also have our holiday merch currently on sale in our merch store. That's Teespring, teespring.com/whatsgoodholiday. If you guys want to check out that stuff. Ladies, I believe the stuff I ordered for us is arriving in a couple of days. Soon. We might be able to wear it on the holiday show before the end of the year. It's going to be very exciting.
Yes. We got to get a Christmas tree in that studio too.
Oh, you know what? I have it. I even put the lights on it and everything, and I left it inside.
Oh no.
Maybe what I'll do is after this first segment, I'll go get it, and then I'll swap it out for the Tetris lights. All right. Well, that is enough plugs for right now. I also want to say, oh my gosh, I totally forgot what I was going to say. I'll think about it, and we'll talk about it in the second segment.
Perfect.
But we do have some big news, Britt. I think you're probably going to be the expert on this big news. So Final Fantasy 15 had a little live stream this week, and they announced that they're going to be adding more downloadable content in 2018. So, of course, this week marks the first anniversary of Final Fantasy 15. The game was released last year. And Square Enix commemorated the occasion with a special active time report, along with announcing the game's December update, which we'll talk about in just a second, which will allow players to switch characters. The stream revealed that Square Enix plans to release more episodes for Final Fantasy 15 next year. Thus far, 2 DLC episodes have been released, with a third episode, Ignis, scheduled to arrive this month. Square plans to release more DLC episodes, and during this time report, director Hajime Tabata said that he would like to release at least 3 more episode-style DLC chapters during the course of the year. Now, he didn't share many more details about what these episodes would entail, but he did reveal that the first will focus on Arden. Did I say that right? And he also said that the chapter will reveal more details about the world of Eos. Eos.
I would say Eos.
Okay.
We don't have a resident expert, Alexa Ray, here.
Yes. But, Britt,
yeah.
So what do you think about this? More episodes?
I'm really excited. Like I said, I'm sad Alexa can't be here for this because she admittedly knows way more than I do. She knows like this store and this lore inside story and lore inside and
Well,
out.
she and Tabata-san are like BFF.
I know. I've never met him. Alexa, hook a girl up. I'm really excited. So I've mentioned this before. I love Final Fantasy 15. I think it has a great story. The world is very deep, and there's lots of immersion there, and it's fantastic. However, there were certain story elements that were left out, and I'm thankful that we're getting them now in the form of DLC. It would have been nice to have seen them included in the original story. Something that I'm excited about that wasn't touched on in what you just said, Andrea, is that they are doing a Final Fantasy 15 Comrades patch, and they're going to be fixing some of the things that I have a lot of issues with. I put about 7 hours in over the weekend with it, and they're going to be fixing the loading times. So right now my loading times are anywhere from like 1:30 to 2 minutes and 30 seconds between like maps. It's really bad.
Ooh, that's long. 2 minutes?
It's really bad. Yeah, and there's some other issues, but they're saying they're going to significantly cut those down to about 10 to 30 seconds depending on which area you're going to be visiting, which is needed, but I can talk more about that in the hands-on section. But with episode Arden, that was kind of surprising, kind of not, because I believe they pulled fans and they said, hey, if you could see any additional episodes featuring any characters, what would it be? And Arden and Lunafreya were the top picks. And Arden is such a huge character, and he's so involved in the Final Fantasy 15 story. We see him in Kingsglaive, and he has been around many thousands of years. I don't want to spoil his significance because it's quite significant, but that's going to be really exciting to see. Episode Ignis, we're going to find out why he has the thing wrong with his eye. We're finally going to get that. There's going to be multiple endings. They're saying like 2.5 to 3 hours to finish all of it. I'm just really excited.
Good.
I'm
That's
waiting for them
awesome.
to finish this game so that I can play it.
Yeah, you really should. I mean, I would wait until obviously next year when everything's probably not everything's out, because I think these 3 extra DLC packs are going to be coming out over the course of like 2018, probably even to 2019 a little bit. Wouldn't be surprised.
Oh my god.
But yeah. Alexa and I talk about this, and some days we're like, you know, why doesn't Final Fantasy 15 just end? But then whenever they like announce new content,
Just be done.
whenever they announce new content, like we get our panties in a bundle in a good way, and we're like, oh my god, this is amazing, and I'm thrilled and I'm excited about it. And Pocket Edition still is going to come, isn't out yet, but when it comes out, I'll be playing that. And that's my excitement coming out.
I think it's impressive that they're able to keep the interest in this game so far after launch. I mean, generally, when you get these single-player RPG, really intense, deep experiences, it's just enough on its own, and then that's it. Maybe you'll get 1 or 2 like big expansions, and that's it. But it's been interesting seeing them kind of change up their strategy and kind of put out a little piece of content here and a little piece of content there, and how they're adding in this multiplayer component. But I guess if you spend, a decade making a game, you kind of want to keep using the infrastructure of that game to make more content so you don't have to make a new game, right?
Yeah, and I think it's a testament to how great the story really is and how much the fans did appreciate it, that they're willing. I think I spent 90 hours in Final Fantasy 15, and I'm sure a lot of average playthroughs are around the same time, willing to go back and experience the story that many haven't touched. I haven't touched in over a year. So props to you, Square Enix. I appreciate what you're doing. Just next time, release it all at once, please. Thanks.
Just include it in your game. Thank you.
Where it should have been.
Well, I mean, would you have rather that they included it in the game but then delayed the game's release to make sure to get all of the content they wanted in the game?
Yeah, I would have, because there are some major plot gaps, and there's a span of 10 years that you know nothing about. Essentially, there are characters who you're introduced to, like Luna Freya, and some shit hits the fan with her, and you're like, what happened? Why is she here? And if you didn't do any of the lore reading, watch the films, read some additional content, you have no idea really who these characters are, and their significance that they hold. So I think the game would have fared much better had they do that. I understand why they didn't, because hello, we'd all been waiting since we were in diapers.
Well, okay. All right. Well, we will keep an eye on the episode when it comes out. I'm sure Britt will give us a full report after she plays it, and then I'm sure we'll get more details about the episodes in 2018. Probably early next year would be my guess. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a trailer at the Game Awards. Could happen.
I bet it will have great hair in it. That's my prediction.
Oh yeah. Oh, their hair.
Okay. Next story. Epic Games, the creators of Fortnite, have sued a 14-year-old over cheating in the game. So this is an interesting story. I'll give you guys some background as reported by Game Informer. So Epic Games said it wasn't going to let Fortnite cheaters slide, and last month it proved just that by filing lawsuits against people who allegedly helped people cheat in its free-to-play Battle Royale mode. This week, a letter to the U.S. District Court, Eastern District of North Carolina, revealed that one of those individuals is a minor. In it, the player's mother writes that she never gave consent for her child to participate in Fortnite, which Epic requires for the game. And the letter also states that her son gained the cheats from a public website and live streamed it, thus Epic should be going after the website and not her son. Epic also cannot prove her son modified the game in any way himself, as the lawsuit alleges. She brings Fortnite's Battle Royale's free-to-play status into the discussion, saying this makes it impossible to prove her son caused any profit loss, and states since no purchase occurred, her son is off the hook. Quote, Epic Games failed to legally bind underage users with their EULA agreement, which is a contract between the licensor and purchaser establishing the purchaser's right to use the software. This being said, the game itself was in fact free. No purchase of said game occurred. End quote. So this kid, whose name is Caleb Rogers, admitted on his YouTube channel to cheating and has since been posting videos defending himself against Epic. And Epic is seeking the maximum of $150,000 for this specific incident. So, of course,
Good luck.
Yeah, I know. So Game Informer reached out and was like, yo, Epic, can we get a statement? And they said, quote, this particular lawsuit arose as a result of the defendant filing a DMCA counterclaim to a takedown notice on a YouTube video that exposed and promoted Fortnite Battle Royale cheats and exploits. Under these circumstances, the law requires that we file suit or drop the claim. Epic is not okay with ongoing cheating or copyright infringement from anyone at any age. As stated previously, we take cheating seriously and will pursue all available options to make sure our games are fun, fair, and competitive for players. So,
Wow.
this is interesting because this lawsuit probably never would have occurred if he hadn't filed a counterclaim to the videos. If he had just let Epic win, which they have every right to file the DMCA takedown of his videos on YouTube, of course they do. If he had not been so brazen as to be like, F you,
But he's
Epic.
14.
I'm gonna file a counterclaim for content I don't
14-year-old
own.
move. Isn't it though? Like it's like such a teenager move to be like,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
like because all you have to do is like click a button. So
Yeah, literally.
Wow.
It's crazy to me that this got this far, and like his parents obviously had to spend money at least to retain legal counsel to engage with Epic's lawyers. And Epic was forced into this, right? Like they couldn't back
Right.
down. He filed a counterclaim. So they said, okay, well now you're forcing our hand. And they have a bunch of lawyers just on retainer. So I'm sure they just called one of them and were like, draft this thing up. And now it's become this whole deal. But I think the more important thing here is to remember that cheating is bad, folks. I mean, and trying to pretend you own something you don't own because you want to cheat at it is even worse.
But I also think it's another story of watch your kids, know what your kids are doing.
Yes.
Like She's like, I never gave consent for him to participate in Fortnite. Like, surely, like, if you really had zero idea that your kid was playing this game,
And that he was posting YouTube videos
That is-
about it, apparently.
right?
Maybe
Like,
take
do you just not pay attention
responsibility.
whatsoever to your child?
I mean, normally I'd be like, take some effing responsibility, and I'm still saying that in this case. Like, if that's like your first argument, I never gave him consent. Well, that's where the problem started in your mind. Then maybe you should watch what your kids do, and you never would have had this problem, because if you're such a good mom, rah rah, he never would have been playing this game in the first place, which is the way you're framing it. I've seen a lot of episodes of Judge Judy, ladies and gentlemen. But I mean, for $150,000, like, that's a lot of money. So I understand why they're fighting this the way they are. I mean, you're pulling, yeah, yeesh. It's messy. It's interesting.
I think it's also interesting if you think about it from this free-to-play aspect, saying that the game is in fact free, as the Caleb's mother wrote in her counter claim, or her letter, and that no purchase of the game occurred. Obviously, that doesn't make a difference. You still sign a terms and conditions, like the EULA, as she mentioned, the end user license agreement, which so many of us sign so glibly. We just like click the box and say accept, don't even read it.
Get out of my face. Let me play the game.
Funny sidebar to that. I once was on a panel with a developer who said that because they know that people don't read those legal agreements, deep inside the terms and conditions, they added a paragraph that said whoever is the first person to mail us a letter saying that they agree to the terms and conditions to our office address will get a $10,000 check.
Oh,
So they buried that in the legal agreement, and she said it took them 7 months for one person to mail something in, or something like that.
I'm not surprised.
I thought you were gonna say like 7 years, but like,
I'm surprised somebody even mailed it in at all. But
yeah.
but yeah,
Hi.
she was just like, yeah,
Damn.
just for like shits and giggles, we decided to put this in there to see if anybody would do it, and it took so
That's
long for
amazing.
somebody to find it. I'm like, that's amazing. Anyway, so folks, it's important to know that when you play video games, you are making legal binding agreements, and you should make sure that you're following the rules and don't be a 14-year-old who makes a counterclaim against Epic Games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not fully hatched at 14, you see. You don't quite understand the consequences of your actions.
No.
So we
No,
understand.
he absolutely
But-
didn't. He was just like, I'm gonna do this and it's gonna be fine. And
See, Mom, had you been paying attention, you could have told your son, hey, you're being an idiot. But no.
just accept the takedown and move on with your life.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
But now instead, you gotta go to fucking court.
Yep.
LOL.
I went to court once when I was in high school, but it wasn't for something so serious as a $150,000 lawsuit.
Okay, now you got to tell us.
Yeah, so I was I'm all about like the tangents this week. So I was driving with a learner's permit in North Dakota at the time. If you had a learner's permit, you could drive with somebody with a driver's license in the vehicle.
Right.
And
That's normal.
So I was driving my friend Trisha's car. We were cruising down Broadway, like the main drag in Fargo. And you can't cruise there. You can't cruise there anymore because they have a no cruising sign. But I got there during the good days when you could still cruise.
Is cruising just defined by like you're just going back and forth?
Correct. You're literally like driving very slowly up like a 6-block stretch and then turning around and driving back. And there was like a Holiday gas station on one end, and there was like a train station on the other end. And so we would just like make these loops, like with the windows down, blaring Tupac, because that was like the cool thing to do when I was in high school.
I did the same thing.
We would stop at Holiday, like pick up a soda or whatever, candy, and then we would get back in the car and keep going. Listen, North Dakota wasn't exactly an exciting place when I was a teenager. Okay.
I mean,
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Like, how big was downtown to like cruise like Fargo? Like,
That's
what was that
literally like 6 blocks. That's about it. It's a
all,
little
like,
bit more
one-story
developed
buildings?
now because there's so much more money in the state. But back then, so anyway, I got pulled over because at one time we were swapping out. She was letting me drive and she was gonna sit in the passenger seat. And I pulled out of the parking lot, not realizing I only had like the fog lights or the parking lights on, not the full headlights. And so we're cruising, and of course this cop was just looking for a reason to pull us over. Pulled me over, gave me a ticket. I'm freaking out. It's the first time I've been pulled over. A cop gives me a ticket. He's like, you're not supposed to be driving without a license. I'm like, but my friend has a license. And he's like, yeah, but she's not 18. And I was like, damn it.
Oh.
I didn't know that was
And you
part
were
of the rule.
I misunderstood the rule, sir.
No, I totally tried to play ignorant. In fact, I played ignorant, and then I got defensive, just like this 14-year-old got defensive and put his counterclaim up. I said, you know what, officer? I was like, you should have pulled me over in the first place. I wasn't doing anything illegal. I wasn't speeding. I used my turn signal. I just started lifting off these things, and he just sits there staring at me. And he's like, well, you didn't have your headlights on, and that's against the law. You need to drive with your headlights on after sundown. And I was like, but the headlights were on. And he's like, no, they weren't. And I was like, fine. He wrote me the ticket. And then I went to court because my mom got pissed, of course. She was like, I can't believe you're driving. And she makes me go to court. So I have to get off school in the middle of the day, go down to the courtroom. This judge just is the meanest. She calls my name, and I get up there, and she asked me to explain myself, and I go through this whole shtick again about how like I should never have been pulled over in the first place, and the cop had no reason to give me a ticket. And she's like, were you driving without a license? And I was like, yes, Your Honor. She's like, were you driving without somebody that was of the correct age? I was like, yes, Your Honor. She's like, so you were doing something illegal? And I was like, damn it.
No.
And I was like, yes, Your Honor. And she was like, well, let's see what the officer had to say. And luckily, the officer forgot to file the report with the court, so they had to throw my ticket out. I got off scot-free.
You got by on a technicality.
I
Good for
totally
you.
did.
Crap.
I totally did.
That's amazing. That never happens.
I know. So, I got very lucky. But anyway, kids.
Criminal record, Andrea Renee.
Well, no, it didn't exist.
Oh yeah, never mind.
No, yeah, there is no record. It's not. That's not anywhere.
Oh my gosh. Oh my god. That was a long story. I'm sorry.
No, it was a good story.
Maybe he did it on purpose that he didn't file a claim. Maybe he liked your sass and was like, I'm just gonna scare the kid.
I'm pretty sure he
Yeah.
was like, that kid is not worth the paperwork. He's like, this is the most dumb ticket ever. After he wrote it, he was probably like, what am I doing with my life? Giving 15-year-olds cruising tickets. I know, it's the worst. Okay, next story. This is the fun one. Kellogg is making a Super Mario Odyssey cereal with a select amiibo sticker box. So, now this was confirmed, I believe, today, but when we pulled the story, it was still rumored. Whispers of a new Super Mario breakfast treat have grown to the level of a dull roar, says IGN. All evidence points to an oat and marshmallow-based cereal in the works from Kellogg. The rumor, which has now been confirmed,
like that.
gained traction when the cereal enthusiast website Cerealously,
Such a good name.
which is
That's
a
a
great
great name.
posted an alleged confirmation of the existence of the cereal in its functional amiibo box. Over on Twitter, Wario64, one of the guys who always has the hot tips, if you don't follow him, you absolutely should, posted that the cereal is in the Target system, all but confirming we'd soon be taking an Odyssey of breakfast flavor. That flavor, mixed berry with marshmallows, to be exact.
I am down for this cereal. It sounds great. I'm gonna buy a couple boxes.
So it looks really cute because they've got this big Mario on the front of the box, and the amiibo is actually, the chip or whatever is built inside the cardboard. And so you save the box, and you apparently can like tap your controller or whatever to the cardboard box. I mean, I think it's going to get a little unwieldy. You're probably going to have to break the box down, but don't throw the box out is what they're trying to say. They haven't
is
said...
it not
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, so is it not possible to bring your Switch with you to Target and scan the chip in Target?
Without buying the box.
Ooh, yeah,
Right.
you totally could. Right?
I don't know how these chip things work. I've never used the amiibo.
I didn't even think about that, Britt.
Oh, that's here. I'm here asking the right question.
I'm gonna
mean,
try it.
I mean, yeah, why wouldn't you be? I mean, but also, like, the cereal sounds good. I would eat
It does
the
come,
cereal.
yeah, I'm gonna buy the cereal anyway.
But I'll eat the box within a day, so I'm not allowed. Like I was telling the ladies this before we started recording. I only get cereal when I go to Andrea's house, because if it's in my house, it lasts maybe an hour or two max. So I
Yeah,
might
but,
have
like,
to be.
One box won't kill you.
No, it's just the guilt, because then I open the floodgates.
Don't
Because my
need
life,
guilt.
you know. But I might be one of those people who bring my Switch to Target and try to scan the cardboard box and then get thrown out of Target.
I
It's
don't.
great.
Yeah, I don't know what kind. They haven't detailed what the content is or what the buff is that you're going to get, because obviously all the amiibo kind of have like a little different something that they give you in Odyssey. But it'll be interesting to see. And I saw somebody make a joke on, it was either on Twitter or on Facebook, that that Nintendo is finally releasing an amiibo that will have more than 5 copies available for purchase.
What?
Yes, very
Seriously?
true.
So I was looking into this because I like to collect strange Nintendo things. And apparently there was cereal in 1986 that ran from 86 to 1989. And it was called Nintendo Cereal System. And it was 2 bags of cereal. One was Mario, one was Zelda. And like Zelda's bag of cereal had like Link's items in it, and Mario's had like mushrooms and other things in it. And apparently it's a collector's item. So I went on Amazon to try to buy this, but I can't find it. And they run anywhere from $100 to $200 because now I want this because it's like old NES cereal. Why wouldn't I want it?
Would you eat old ass cereal?
No, Summer.
Okay.
I would
I'm
probably
just checking because you said you can't have cereal in your house. I'm wondering how far this obsession goes.
I mean, we're talking like 20-year-old cereal at this
But
point,
it's
if not
vacuum sealed.
3-year-old cereal. No, come on. Like, if you put a box of cereal, even if it's in the vacuum sealed bag, a year later, that shit is stale. Okay.
I kind of still would want to try it.
Of course you would.
unless we like have the apocalypse, I probably will not eat it.
Yes.
There you go. It's your apocalypse cereal. You
Yeah.
got zombies coming. You like grab that Mario cereal. You take
Oh
it
my
with you.
gosh.
I love
Um,
cereal.
Okay, well, we'll keep an eye out. Maybe we'll do a taste test video.
Yes.
If this cereal comes out, we can all eat cereal together.
This sounds like the greatest day.
Yes.
I know.
Amazing. Okay, so before we wrap up news, I want to go over some of the content that Sony finally announced is going to be at the PlayStation Experience. There will be some panels. We still don't know what the special presentation is going to hold on Friday night, but it has been announced that Sucker Punch will be talking about its upcoming Ghosts of Tsushima in a panel.
Yes.
Yeah, what?
I said
We
yes.
said yes.
Oh, I was like, did you say something? In a panel moderated by Brian Altano of IGN. That's going to be at 3:30 on
We know
Saturday.
him.
We do know him. He is a lovely human being. Media Molecule is hosting a panel on the development of Dreams and is including a, quote, very special guest among the panelists, and that's going to be at 12:30.
That's a
PlayStation
weird
VR is doing a panel at 11 featuring, quote, 2 legends. And 2 panels will celebrate the history of the PlayStation platform. IGN is hosting a top 10 PlayStation games panel, and they are also hosting a 10th anniversary celebration of the Uncharted franchise, which we can expect probably some of the people involved with that series to make an appearance there. So, who do we think the very special guest for Dreams is going to be? Any guesses?
Literally no idea because that game is so weird, and it would be cool if it was like Tim Burton, but it won't be. But like just something as zany as that game because it's so like
Same here.
seriously the strangest
In
thing.
20 seconds, explain what Dreams is. Why is it so weird?
I don't even know that I can explain it at all.
Fair enough.
Like it's something I have to like watch videos on, and I was kind of trying to look back and see when they announced it.
So, according to the Wikipedia page, it's an upcoming sandbox video game that focuses on play, create, and share and allows players to create user-generated content. You'll control an imp, which is used to interact with the game's world, create new items, characters, and manipulate objects by grabbing and pulling them. Players move the imp using the DualShock 4 or the PlayStation Move controllers, and your imp is customizable. You can change the emotion by drawing on the controller's touchpad. And you'll have the ability to possess characters featured in a dream, allowing players to take direct control of these characters.
It's
Huh.
weird.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
looking at some gameplay. It looks very weird. So
Well-
I have no clue.
Yeah, and the game, I think it's just a little too ethereal for my personal taste. I don't dislike these types of games, but sometimes they're hard for me to get into because I'm kind of like, it's almost gone too far into the realm of being art and not
Artsy,
enough
yeah.
game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sure people will do cool stuff with it, but I don't think I'll be one of those people. Like, I
Right.
think I'll be someone who's just watching videos of this game on YouTube when someone's done something cool, because even the more I see the game, I'm just like, wait, what? What am I doing? What? It's so
No, I hear you.
strange. And so, yeah, and they're like, a special guest. I'm like, I don't know. Can you just tell me more about the game? I don't need a special friend.
That sucker punch
I need a
panel,
real
though.
pitch.
I am there for that sucker punch panel. I will
Oh,
camp
yes.
outside for that panel. I mean, not really, but I'm very excited to see it. Steimer, you're excited to see that one too, yes?
I'm super, yeah. I mean, I love Sucker Punch, and I think this game looks really cool and different, so I'm excited for it.
Oh, and I forgot to
Yeah.
mention, there's also The Last of Us Part 2, Meet the Cast, where Neil
Ooh.
Druckmann and co-writer Haley Gross and some cast members will be discussing the making of that Paris Games Week trailer and maybe offering a little bit
There.
more context for that very controversial scene.
Oh, that'll be good too.
I'm excited for that. What time is that one?
It is after the 10th anniversary celebration, so I believe 6 p.m.
Great. We'll get our popcorn. We'll sit in the theater. We'll wait until it
6
comes on.
6:30, Steimer.
Great.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. Hopefully we'll get some new details about some stuff, and we will be there playing some games. You can expect some hands-on impressions from us after that show is over. There were a couple of other news stories that happened this week, but quite frankly, I'm just so tired of talking about Star Wars Battlefront. I can't even. But there's like a big like hoop-de-doo about customization, how somebody found how they data mined the software and they found that there's customization like built into the code, and how EA is going to implement customization. And then people were like, but canon. And other people were like, but not canon because Darth Maul is fighting Rey and that's not canon. And it just like
That's exhausting.
people
It really is.
are so upset. I'm just like, why?
It's like,
bring
it's a
some quality.
multiplayer game. Who cares? You're not, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we decided to
hear
not
ya.
discuss it. We got several emails from you guys after we talked about doing a Star Wars Battlefront spoiler cast. And quite frankly, I was surprised by how many of you said, please don't do it, which was something that I was not expecting. So we will not be doing a spoiler cast of Star Wars Battlefront 2's campaign, because so many of
We
you
aim
were
to
like,
please.
ugh, please, no, let it be over.
Oh, God. So sad.
So it sounds, and I don't know how much of this you know, Andrea, but it sounds like the next game everyone's jumping down is Destiny 2.
Oh, yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
yes, I know. I've been reading about this.
They canceled their stream for Trials of Osiris. No, not Trials. Whatever
The
the
Curse of Osiris.
Curse of Osiris. I knew there was something with Osiris. Yeah, they canceled it, and then they're gonna go back and like give hopefully satisfactory answers to their community. But it seems like people are just real mad.
People are mad. They need some
People are
holiday
really
cheer in their
I was
lives.
about to say, like, it's the holidays. I feel like we should
Be
be a little
happy.
happier.
So they put out a statement. This actually just came out a few hours ago. So they had said that they were going to be doing, as Steimer mentioned, a live stream detailing some more weapons and upgrade options that are coming in the expansion that releases next week. They said, we're canceling that because we hear the outcry. So the outcry happened because there was some XP leveling transparency issues that were discovered by some very smart Redditors. I mean, the amount of time that people put into some of the research that they're doing to discover this stuff is really incredible. Who basically did a lot of testing and keeping track of data and discovered that by grinding certain events in the game is not actually giving you the amount of experience points it says it's giving you. And of course, with all of the outcry over microtransactions and loot boxes that has been happening over the last couple of months, people immediately jump to, oh, this is you Destiny, Activision and Bungie trying to make us buy more loot boxes, more bright engrams in the game. So you purchase silver, and then the silver buys you the bright engrams, which are the in-game purchasable item. So you can also get these bright engrams by grinding out for XP. And so they said, well, you're being tricksy because you said you gave me 5,000 XP for this thing, but you didn't actually give me that much. And I'm like, ugh, really? Is that a thing? And so Bungie acknowledged it right away. They said, that's not right. We want to fix that. We want to make sure everything's transparent, because I think a lot of the Destiny community members came forward and said, listen, if you don't want to be able to chain these public events together, for example, or chain some of the patrols together to be able to grind for XP, that's fine. Don't be sneaky about it. Be open about it, and we won't be mad at you. It's when you get sneaky that people get mad, because then they feel like you're doing something shady, because you probably are. Because otherwise, why would you be sneaky about it? So
either somebody messed up or it's shady. Those are the two options.
I'm hoping that somebody messed up. So I haven't read this yet, so I'm just going to read the statement really quickly. It says, hey everyone, with Destiny 2's console and PC launches behind us, we want to take some time to talk to you about Destiny 2, specifically where it's at today and where it's going. Our team has been reading feedback and working on updates to improve the game. We've also been reading some tough criticism about our lack of communication, and we agree we need to be more open. Going forward, Destiny 2's post-launch game systems, features, and updates are being designed specifically to focus on and support players who want Destiny to be their hobby, the game they return to, and a game where friendships are made. We want Destiny to be a game that fits into your life, providing you with reasons to log in and play with your friends, clans, and families. We want Destiny to be a world you want to be part of. A month ago, we published a list of improvements on the blog, and today we're going to revisit that list and update its status and share some of the work the team is readying for December, January, and beyond. We know it's frustrating when there isn't enough of a dialogue with the development team. You have our commitment that we're going to do a better job going forward. Signed, Luke Smith and Chris Barrett.
Good.
So that's good, but it seems like a lot of lip service to me.
Of course.
Oh, yeah. They got to put their money where their mouth is at this point.
Yeah, it's just interesting because we've talked about this. I think what the fans and the players want more than anything is just complete, honest, open transparency. Let's just keep things 100 with each other. And then what, like you ladies were saying earlier, then you don't seem so shady. And I think a problem with Bungie too, and let me know what you ladies think, is they use the typical PR system, which is, there's nothing wrong with that, but that kind of creates this barrier between developer and fans. So you kind of get this mumbo jumbo lip service, when in reality, all they really want is the direct feedback. Hey, we hear you. We acknowledge your concerns. We're working on it. Not for weeks to go by or a week to go by. And then it just, the anger just builds, and then you see what happens.
Yes.
Yeah, there was some other weird part to this that I can't quite remember exactly what it was, but I think I read about it on Kotaku or maybe just saw it on Twitter.
Well,
but it was where after they had been oh, we fixed it, quote unquote, then it was something it was supposed to be 90,000 XP would be a level, but then a Twitter account said oh yeah, no, it's tracking 160,000 XP. So I don't know, it basically once they fixed the glitch, then they doubled the amount of XP that you had to earn, so that it wasn't really helping you in any way earn any more bright engrams, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so that's definitely part of the problem, but also it gets to a point where the grind is necessary once you've completed all of the content, right? Once you've played everything that was included in the base price of the game, until the expansion comes out, which is coming out next week. I mean, I'm kind of the mindset that if you want to keep playing and getting access to new content for free, there has to be a balance between in-game progression for free and then in-game progression for pay, right? And this is why people have been so upset this year, is because that balance has been completely out of whack. It hasn't been balanced. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's really where people are upset and saying it needs to feel fair, and it just hasn't felt fair in so many of these games that people have been complaining about. And that's where I really hope they take a look at the balance and go, what feels fair? How many hours of play are we talking about versus how many dollars can people spend? And let's find something where people feel like they're getting their time's worth or their money's worth, whatever the case may be, whatever you're spending, whatever your currency is, whether it's your time or whether it's your money. They did detail on the website, which I'm not going to list here because it's quite a bit of stuff, upcoming updates, including new systems, new rewards, better incentives, better rewards for strikes, adventures, and lost sectors. Private match is for the Crucible tuning, better incentives for completing Crucible matches, continued improvements to Iron Banner and faction rallies, changes to the mod economy, ongoing improvements to exotics, new ways to spend surplus currency and materials, and finally an emote interface that allows players to equip salty, spicy ramen 6-shooter and flip out all at the same time, which are
Perfect.
the exotic
I still
emotes.
need the salty one.
Yeah, the salty one's good. I
Yeah.
wanted to buy the ramen one, but it was so much bright dust. I was so mad. I got mad again at the microtransactions in this game. I'm like, I love this game so much. Why can't I just buy the emote with money? But instead,
Yeah.
in order to get enough bright dust to buy the emote, I would have had to buy at least 20, if not more, bright engrams, and then dismantled everything in the bright engrams, or hoped that I got bright dust as like a drop in one of the engrams to get enough dust to buy it, because
Nope.
I can't just give them $5 or $10 for the emote. I have to buy a giant pack and then hope,
Yeah.
pray to Art Jesus that I get the dust.
Aaron, Jesus, where did you go?
We live
Why
in a
have you
day,
left us?
developers, and we love you. But if you try to sneak any shady things or anything, you try to hide anything, people
Yeah.
are gonna find out. There are a lot of people out there who are looking for things to exploit on the Reddits.
Yeah.
Just be honest, and it all will be better than it will be if you're not honest.
And don't rely
Life
so much on
lesson.
Aaron, Jesus.
Yeah,
Yes.
RNGs just needs
Just-
to go away.
Yeah, just let me buy the thing I want. Please?
Yeah.
Please. Okay.
We'll buy it.
I wasn't intending to
But they
talk
don't
about
make
this
as much
Destiny
money
story,
that
but
way.
I'm going to talk about getting back into Destiny 2 in the next segment. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we are going to come back and talk about what we've been playing this week. Hopefully you guys have been playing some cool stuff. You had some time over the Thanksgiving holiday here in the United States, or maybe just over your last weekend if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving. And so buckle in. We're going to talk about some video games. We'll be right back. This episode of the What's Good Games podcast is brought to you by TakeThis.org. Take This AFK rooms are mental health first aid for conventions worldwide. And without the psychomancers, they'd just be empty space. Since 2014, Take This has been sending psychomancers to conventions worldwide trained in the art of mental health first aid. Psychomancers create safe, welcoming spaces for people dealing with mental health issues and can help guide people in distress to the help they need. Between training, insuring, flying, lodging, and feeding our psychomancers, Take This spends over tens of thousands of dollars a year to help thousands of people dealing with mental health issues at conventions all over the world. And the psychomancers need your help to keep flying. Visit the Take This Patreon at patreon.com/takethisorg to learn more about the Psychomancer Project and how you can help bring help, healing, and hope to people around the world. Become a sponsor of the Take This AFK rooms, staffed with psychomancers, stuffed with hope. Patreon.com/takethisorg. Welcome back, everybody. This is the What's Good Games podcast. And so in that break, you guys just heard or you just watched an ad from Take This. They have been a sponsor of What's Good Games since we launched, and we can't thank them enough for all of their support and all of the good work that they do. And we are patrons of theirs at patreon.com/takethisorg, and they need some more help. We know that it's tough, particularly this time of year, that there's so many different causes. Extra Life just did a live stream. We just had Veterans Day with Stack Up. And of course, Able Gamers is doing fundraising as well. There's so many different causes. But this is one that's particularly dear to our heart because of their deep involvement in supporting us as an organization. And so if you guys could just take a moment to go to the page and check it out, even if all you could contribute is $1 a month, we would really appreciate you guys supporting them because they support us. And we love them and the great work that they do supporting mental health and really bringing mental health into the conversation where a lot of us struggle with mental health. 1 in 4 of us, in fact. are going to have some kind of mental health problem over the course of our lifetime, which is crazy to think about. And they didn't pay me to say this right now. I'm saying this because I appreciate and love what they do, and we are supporting them as an organization here at What's Good, just like they support us. But me personally, I would love it if you guys have it in your bandwidth to help them as well, to help get those psychomancers out to AFK rooms across these conventions. That would be amazing. Just something for you to think about if it's, if it's doable for you. If it's not, no worries at all. I just want to put it out into the universe.
On that note, they are looking for volunteers for their first conventions of the year. They're going to be at MagFest, January 4th through the 7th, and PAX South, January 12th through the 14th in San Antonio, Texas. So, if you think you have some time, if you're local, check it out.
Thanks
Get
for
in
that,
touch.
Britt. I didn't even know
Gotcha.
that. Excellent.
Yeah. You know how we got that, Andrea?
How?
Because we were their patrons. And they sent all of their patrons a message.
Oh, wonderful.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, with that aside, it's time to talk about some video games. The reason we're here, ladies and gentlemen. So, I played some games. Steimer, you played some games. Britt, you finished a big game. So let's start with you.
finished.
Let's talk about the ending. No spoilers of Divinity Original Sin 2.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so first of all, congratulations to Larian Studios. They just announced that they've sold over 1 million copies. Yay, you're amazing.
Hooray! We support
Hooray!
indie devs.
Yes. So about 120 hours, I finally finished Divinity Original Sin 2, and it is
Wow.
everything. Yeah, it's everything I wanted from the sequel. They improved the combat. I love the exploration. I love how in-depth the story is, and the characters, and the voice acting, the music. It's all so beautiful, and the icing on the cake is that it's co-op. It supports up to 4-player co-op. So it's really hard to get such an in-depth RPG like that and have it play flawlessly with another person. So my husband Jason and I, we played the whole thing together, and it's just by far my game of the year. It's just so much fun. Like, we're gonna replay it again. Like, I already can't wait to play it again when it comes to consoles. There's been no official announcement or anything like that. But yeah, we're going through withdrawals, so we're trying to find games to fill that void right now, and it's been hard. It's been real hard. You know how it is when you finish a game.
Well,
That you're
and
like-
so
yeah,
many
you get
of
that
those
weird like depression afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt that before.
when there's so
Yeah.
few games that allow you to have that long of an experience and that deep of a customizable experience that feels so rewarding, that's co-op, right? There's just
Yes.
not very many of those.
No, and something I really love about the game as well is that you can customize your character. Like you were saying, Andrea, you can respec whenever you want. You can be anything you want to be. Like if you want to be a warrior one day, the next day a battle mage. Like you can just do whatever you want and adjust on the fly. And you have 2 characters. Well, you can have up to 4 characters in your party, so you can have 2 of each if you want to split. I could rave about it forever, but it's so good, and I cannot encourage people to check it out hard enough if you are a fan of co-op games. And I got how old are we? An email from someone.
I was like, wow, someone wrote you a letter?
No, I wish. I love handwritten letters. Anyway, saying that he wanted to get his wife into the game, but she had little to no experience with RPGs, and Divinity Original Sin 2 in its nature is kind of a difficult game, but they have a very, very easy mode. And I was like, and the beautiful thing about it is the combat is turn-based. So every turn you can like teach someone, okay, this is why this attack is good in this turn and why this one is not good. This is what you can do. So it's very easy to teach someone to play. So please check it out. Hurrah.
Baby ass baby mode.
Oh, yeah, nothing wrong with that.
I needed to come to console though.
It will. There's no official announcement, but they've said, like, yeah, stay tuned. And what they did is they released Divinity Original Sin Enhanced Edition alongside console as well. So it'll come. Just wait.
I'm a
That's
patient
what she
person.
said.
I still have a bunch of other stuff to play
Yeah.
before I can dive into something of that length anyway. But you've also been playing Comrades. Alexa, of course, played that on our Patreon stream. We talked about it a little bit last week. What has your experience been with the game so far?
So I'm about 7 hours into Comrades, and I would say the first 2 were really sweet in the sense that you feel like you're really, because like there's this 10-year span in the game, and so this takes place during that. And it starts out, you wake up, you're a glaive, and it's kind of like, okay, you're going to unlock these things by accruing kilowatts, by attacking enemies, and you have to bring light all to the world. And every time you unlock something, you get like a little animation and then a new option. but that wears out so quickly, and now it's turned into such a grind fest. Now I'm playing with AI only, and the problem is I'm level 9, and all the areas and the battles I'm unlocking are levels like 13 and above, and those are just near and they're impossible to defeat. And the scaling, the difficulty scaling is just off. And the loading times, which I was talking about in the first segment, are what's making this really hard, because I have maybe like 5 different battles I can play over and over again to accrue experience points and accrue kilowatts so I can unlock the lights of the world. The problem, though, is the loading times in between. So on average, the loading times are 1:30 to 2:30, which when you're replaying the same mission over and over again gets really repetitive really fast. And it's a little unfortunate. And so I unlocked my first character, Gladdy, but he's a level 15, and I'm supposed to fight him, and he's one of the main characters of Final Fantasy 15, but I can't even get near him because he kicks my butt. And so like getting to interact with him seems like it's another 6 hours away. Ugh. And yeah, it's just one of those things. So I'm happy to hear that they're fixing the loading times. But what I have found is that it's a perfect game to play while you're doing something else. So in one of our rooms in the house, we have 2 treadmills and 2 TVs. So Jason's like watching some like Rome documentary, which is kind of like IRL Game of Thrones, and I'm playing Final Fantasy 15 Comrades. So I'm watching him watch, like I'm watching the series while I'm mindlessly like grinding in Final Fantasy 15 Comrades. If that so
yeah, no, that makes sense. I'm at the, I don't know, I don't want to say the age. I'm at the mindset, I guess, where like I don't want to do that anymore. Like
no,
you don't want to grind.
It's not enjoyable. I don't.
No, but like I'm not.
I know.
I know.
Sorry, I'm just
we're
12-year-old.
Yes, yes, sure.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit is fine, but when it's super out of whack like that, and you feel like that's all you have to do, like I just don't think it's well balanced.
Yeah, it's right now it's a perfect treadmill game because it's just mindless, and I can just like walk and watch something and grind at the same time. But I was about to like rage quit and like throw this game away because the grinding was so bad and the difficulty scales were so off. But then I started getting into the show he was watching. I'm like, okay, I can handle it. But as of right now, with the load times, it's just, I would say stay away until they fix it with the patch that's coming on the 12th of December.
Okay, that's good to know. Do you think, I'm going to play a little devil's advocate here.
Yes,
if
please.
they added in time savers or microtransactions to speed up the process, that you would be interested in this at all? And I bring this up because I've been playing some more Assassin's Creed, and they have time saver packs of things that you can buy, things like animal skins for customization, or not for customization, excuse me, for crafting and things like that. You can buy resources, and then the crafting helps get you upgrades for like your hidden blade or like your range damage or your health, for example. If stuff like that was built into the game, would you like it more? Would you be interested?
100%. And I'm happy you brought this up because as I was playing it yesterday, I was thinking to myself, this game would be perfect for microtransactions if it's going to remain the way it is. I mean, some people don't. I totally remember.
What are you doing?
No, listen. So I posted a question on Twitter about this. I'm like, is everyone else experiencing this grind? It starts out really sweet and then it gets tedious. And everyone's like, not everyone, 90% of the people were like, yeah, it's a bit grindy, but I'm still enjoying it. I'm like, okay, so clearly I'm just not a patient person or something, but I would happily pay money to beef me up to level 15 so I can access all of those fights and I can start to meet the characters that I'm so familiar with that are from the main game. You can do it without microtransactions. It's possible. It's a little bit grindy. A lot grindy.
Yeah, but it's just sort of like and granted I have not played this part yet. I'm basing this off of things I have read on the internet. The end of Shadow of War, where like, yeah, you can get there. It's going to take you a long time, but here's this shiny thing. And you're like, well, why didn't you just balance your game properly?
Well, I think that there's a little bit of a difference between those two examples. The first one being, that's the main campaign of a story-based, single-player-driven game. And
True.
This is DLC that's part of a whole season pass. So technically, if you think about it, because you pay, what, $25 for the season pass for Final Fantasy 15, and it includes Comrades plus the 3 episodes. So if you split
Plus
that,
the 3 more that are coming out, maybe.
well, I don't know
if
if that's
included
going to
or
be
separate.
included. They
I
didn't
think it's
mention it.
a different season pass.
Yeah,
Season
I would
pass
guess
part
that
2.
I would guess that they're going to charge extra for that. But so let's say that those are, you know, 5 and change per game, or whatever, like $7 or whatever it is per game, or per DLC pack. That's a pretty cheap price for entry for something that, to me, as Britt mentioned, kind of seems ripe for microtransactions. Because if the barrier is so low to play that, and you want to just, you know, kind of fast track yourself to the end game of the DLC, I mean, it seems like it would be a kind of a good spot to put it. And this is the tough part about microtransactions, right? Is that sometimes they fit and they make sense. Sometimes they don't fit and they don't make sense. I feel like in the case of Shadow of War, I have not gotten to the end of that game because I've already hit the grind wall, and I'm only in like Act 2, you know. And I did have to set the game down to play a bunch of other stuff. This really busy holiday season, but I plan to go back. But it's already super grindy, and I don't even know if I'm halfway through the story missions yet. And I haven't even looked really at the microtransactions about buying orc followers and getting like the random rolls and all that stuff. But I don't know. I feel like there's got to be a good way that they could implement this.
And I don't think it'll be super bad with Final Fantasy 15 as soon as they fix those damn loading times. Because I think that's part of it.
What's the end game?
That's a very good question, Simer. I don't know. At first I was playing it because I'm like, this is fun, and it unravels story between this 10-year period. But you know, I don't know. I think the point is to restore light to all of the land, which is great. But along the way, you get to meet characters and see recurring characters. You change your avatar's clothing, which apparently is a big draw for people. It does nothing for me. But they did say during the stream today that they do have more DLC planned, and they're planning to continue to support this into next year. Obviously, it probably will into next year and beyond. So I think there's hope for it. It's a little buggy. I've had some weird bugs happen where characters appeared that I hadn't rescued yet, but I think there's potential, especially playing with friends.
So is Comrades more, even after watching Alexa play, I couldn't necessarily answer this question. Comrades more story driven versus something like a GTA Online where you can kind of just like mess around and kill people and like hang out?
Yeah. The only multiplayer aspect of Comrades is when you're doing the raids. In what I've seen so far, other than that, like your central hub where you go talk to the characters are all single player missions and it's all single player stuff. So
okay, so there will be an end to Comrades. Basically.
I'm assuming. I don't even know if we know that information. They marketed this game very strange. Like, it's not really a multiplayer expansion. The way I thought it was going to be was you get to roam around all of the world with all of your friends and kill time and just explore, but it's nothing like that right now. Who knows?
Well, I guess we'll see.
Yes,
one day.
We will.
But only if you can pay to level yourself up so you can get there.
Because otherwise, you gotta grind.
Yeah.
Dad bumping grind.
Can't see nothing wrong. You were thinking it. Well, maybe not like that. I don't know.
What?
It's like a Muppet bumping grind.
Was it attractive? No wonder. All those years in the clubs.
Brett, I love you. You're the best. Steimer, you completed 2 things. No, you completed one thing and you started another thing. So you finally finished Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus. What'd you think?
I did. I really liked the story. I really liked the characters. I thought it was well done. I will say that I'm not going to spoil anything, but like the twist that happens, I saw coming almost immediately. Like I saw coming like way earlier. So which I assume most other people would as well. That I thought it was like very much hinted at. But so like I wasn't necessarily surprised by any of the story elements, but I really thought they were well done. Like they were well acted, they were well written, and I just really liked that cast and crew. So for me, that was really enjoyable. There was a couple things that like were sort of irritating to me, and that was I chose the upgrade that was the legs.
Yeah, like the stilt walker legs.
They were awful. I hated them. Like, I wish I could have tried them before picking, because it really just tells you what they do.
Yeah.
And it doesn't give you any sort of...
I watched John play through the back half of this game. So there's a pivotal plot moment that's very jarring when you like watch it and go through it. And at the end of this plot moment, you change, like BJ changes and has this upgrade. And what they don't explain to you is kind of what all of these things do. And I knew what they did because I got the chance to play with all three of them at a preview event. Alexa Ray and I spoke about this about a month and a half ago, about these 3 special abilities that BJ was going to get in the back half of the game. And what's crazy to me is that they just kind of gloss over it. They don't really explain to you very well in this selection screen. It's like option 1, option 2, option 3. If you don't pick the Stiltwalker legs like Steimer did, you can pick this shield armor that essentially turns you into a juggernaut. So you can charge through walls, and if you charge heavy enemies, you'll like knock their armor off. And then there's an ability to kind of squish yourself really small to get into small holes in the wall so you can stealth your way through certain sections of the level, which stealthing in Wolfenstein is kind of a joke. So I don't know why you would ever do that. And
I did it a little bit. I always start every level stealth.
You start that way, and then all it takes is one guy to see you, and then the broadcast alarm is off, and then everyone's fine.
Do you guys do whenever that happens, I start running around like a chicken with my head cut off, just trying to find the
commandant
there to kill them. Yeah, like, where are you? You should be close. Okay, the numbers.
Which is hard.
Are you upstairs or downstairs? Where are you?
They hide those suckers too.
Oh yeah, they really do.
Yeah, go ahead, please. Tell us why you hated these Stiltwalker legs so much.
I hated them so much, and I regretted my decision so much because they were just really janky. Like, you would set them off, and then I would try, and like I was stuck in the intro. So after you select one of them, there's a little mission, quote unquote. It's not really. It's like on the ship. You go through the training grounds basically with your new power. I was stuck there for such a long time because I was like, how do I work these fucking legs? And like, I'm trying to just like normally get over these humps that you should be able to get over. I just felt like the buttons weren't like as responsive as I wanted them to be. I don't know. I was really struggling with them. And I was like, as soon as I was going through that, I was like, I made a mistake.
Steimer, what difficulty did you play on?
I played on baby ass baby mode.
Okay, I'm also playing on baby ass baby mode. I'm getting rocked.
Oh, really? No, I found it pretty fine.
Oh, no, girl. I suck at shooters to begin with, and I find that there's so many enemies, so many Nazis in the level. So, like, I set off the alarm, and I feel like they swarm out like ants to, like, a fresh piece of like, fresh meat or some shit. Like, they're everywhere, and it's intense. And I'm shooting. I'm running out of ammo. I'm trying to duck, but I'm not. I'm just running into more of them. It's not an easy game.
Yeah, I would maybe recommend like the shield thing for you then, so you can at least ram into them, take them out with you.
I think that like from my playtime, having the luxury of being able to try all 3 during this this press event that I was at, I really liked the legs when I tried them out, but after playing more of the game, the shield armor that you can charge things with definitely seems like the better of the 3 options. The thing about the stilt legs that I don't know if you ended up trying it all, and the thing that I found about them when the demo that I played was that when you're in combat, you can stilt leg up, like double jump, and just be up high and then shoot down at everybody below you, and they can't melee you because you're in the air.
I never got meleeed that much.
Shot.
So I did do that a couple of times, but like ultimately I just feel like that was a mismatch for me and my playstyle, and I just kind of messed up that way, which was sad because like I was like excited to get to that moment because you and Alexa had talked about it, and I should have done the shrinking one for my playstyle. I should have done the shrinking, because I do try to stealth as much as I can and then just go all out when somebody notices me, but And then the other thing, I'm trying to remember. Oh, I just felt like some levels were a little bit confusing, and I was like, where am I going?
The map sucks. Happening? I'm just gonna say it. That game is beautiful, and that map is terrible.
Okay, good. It's not just me either.
No, it sucks.
Yeah, I was like, I feel like I'm good, and I felt it got worse as like the game got on. Like the last
pathing,
2 levels, like,
the level design, the pathing specifically was very difficult to follow in specific levels, and it's frustrating because you get to a game like that where the level design is so well done from an artistic direction standpoint. Like they really made it feel like you were in like 1960s Nazi America from an art perspective, but then you get it and you're walking through and like the beacons about where you're supposed to end up are impossible to tell what level they're on, which doors you're supposed to go through. And listen, Wolfenstein is not an open world exploration game. It's not like if you go around this corner, you're going to find some neat hidden collectible. I mean, there's a couple of those sprinkled throughout the world, but that's not what this game is. And that was a frustrating part about the game for sure. So you are definitely not alone.
Yay.
I know, like most games like this too, there's usually like a yellow flag that will be blowing in the wind, and you're like, that's where I gotta go. But like, there's none of that.
Nope.
So okay, it's good to know.
Figure it out.
I was in Manhattan, the Manhattan level earlier this morning, and I was super duper lost. I saw the little beacon where I was supposed to go, but even that's hard to spot sometimes. So I kept running in circles, but I love it so far. It's really great. The characters are fantastic, and the story. I didn't play the first any of the. This is my first Wolfenstein game, so it's different, and I really like that about it. The characters are so well done, and they're hilarious. The way they banter, I'm like literally laughing out loud to myself while I'm playing this game. And Jason's looking at me like I'm a crazy person, but that's fine.
I really
So is my
liked
dog.
the quiet moments that they have on the ship. Like I like you go through the levels and it's really intense and you're like, "Whoa, there's people
Yes.
everywhere, everything's murder." And then you go onto the ship and it's like, "Okay, now you can kind of like decompress and you can have a
Yeah.
moment and there's something funny happening over there, or these people are actually having a really interesting conversation." And you can kind of just walk around and enjoy the cast a little bit more.
Did you ladies see the scene with Set and Sigrun when she's singing? It's toward the beginning of the game.
I don't remember.
Okay, never mind. It was one of the funniest things I've seen in a game in a long time. But if you haven't seen
I
it,
remember laughing a lot at set. Like
yeah. No, he and
There's a lot of
Sigrun have
good
really
stuff.
good chemistry. Anyway,
Yeah, the game is good. I mean, I feel like we've talked about that a lot on this show. Again, like one of the best first-person shooter, single-player narrative experiences ever. Really, Machine Games has really done a fantastic job of making that game really well, and just the level of polish, the writing, the voice acting. There obviously are some issues with the game, like some minor things, but overall, I mean, like, it's a really, really excellent game. I don't score games, but if I did, I'd score it high. I'd score it high.
it'd be up there somewhere.
It'd be up there, indeed. So I have decided. So yes, I've finally started Super Mario Odyssey. I've been playing that game, been collecting my power moons, and been having a fun time. I love the whimsy of it. I love how it harkens back to moves that I learned in Super Mario 64. Like the moves are almost identical, and I love that. But obviously he's got some new stuff as well with Cappy. After starting it, after hearing Alexa's gigantic rant about how Mario's dead, it was like the whole time I was watching it, going, she might be onto something here.
oh no!
So I'm playing
into the
that with
crazy.
kind of in the back of my mind, but I not accidentally. So I got the Mario and Peach wedding amiibos.
Movie.
Oh my gosh. Sorry. I don't know what's going on with me. And so I tapped the Princess Peach one to the controller, not realizing it was going to put Mario in a wedding dress on screen.
So I knew that, and I actually had meant to use your amiibo when I was at your house, and I forgot, and because I wanted to unlock the outfits. But
That's amazing.
Yeah,
have to do the next
so
one, yeah.
I didn't want him in Peach's wedding dress for like the
I do.
first levels. Like, I mean, it's a look. It's a
It's
a
just
whole
funny.
thing. Him running around in the dress.
Say yes to the dress. He did.
He did.
Oh.
But it's really cute. I have to look up like what the functionality of all the amiibo are. I have a couple other amiibo here on set in studio that are in their plastic that I kind of want to take them out to play with them. But I've been having fun with that. I will say, and I knew that this was going to be the case, I'm not drawn to continuing to play that game. I'm going to sit down and finish it because it's, fun. And I really like how they are playing with dimension in that game, how you'll go into areas and it'll turn into classic 2D Mario. And you'll pop out and it's 3D Mario again. And the capping mechanic is really interesting and intriguing so far, how they're using that throughout the worlds. And the uniqueness of the art style of each of the individual areas. Obviously, these are things we've all talked about and everyone has said so far about this game. But there's just something about it that feels so familiar that I'm kind of not as intrigued to keep playing because I'm like, I've played this before. And I think that, potentially levels later on in the game will help expand that out and maybe do a little bit more innovating. But it just feels very much like another 3D Mario, excellently executed. The level of polish is clear. Nintendo really puts out well-polished games that are beautifully made. But that being said, Bowser took Peach again. You have to save her. She said the same Mario at the very beginning that she says like in every single game. And I'm kind of like, I love these characters. I really do. I tweeted about how much I love Mario as a franchise during Thanksgiving week as part of my dev appreciation set of tweets, and how I have Mario art all over my house, and I've got a Yoshi hanging in the studio and a cat Peach, and like I love these characters, but I don't know if it's maybe time for me to say I've had my time with them.
They aren't growing with you, I would say. It's just like they're just kind of staying the same, which is fine, and like I understand why they haven't necessarily changed, but and I also agree with you, Andrea, on like the point of it's not something you're drawn to play. Like to me, that game, I don't want to say I'm saving it, but like I'll play that when I travel. Yeah, but that's when I'm gonna play that game. It's not something that I'm gonna be like, I just got home from work and I really want to play Super Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
No, it's funny you say that because I just picked up Mario Odyssey, was it last night or 2 nights ago, for the first time in weeks, and I collected maybe like 15 moons, and then I set it down. I'm like, okay, I'm done for now, and I'm going to this really cute city in Washington called Leavenworth next week. I think it's next week or 2 weeks. It's super cute. And that's the game I'm going to bring with me because there's something cathartic about a Mario game while you're kind of on the road in a little Christmas village. But I'm much more drawn to games like Wolfenstein or Divinity or, even Shadow of War is on my priority list. I haven't even picked that up yet. Mario, it's like you said, excellently done. Polished out the butt. Fantastic. But yeah. It's just kind of the game, like pick up and play for me. I'm not drawn to it to play it and get all the moons ASAP, and I don't want to like rush to finish it. I'm not like super excited to play it for 5 hours at a time. Not to say it's a bad game because it's not, but I think I'm more drawn to nowadays the Mario RPG titles that come out. It's just something different, and the stories are usually a little varied. There's more focus on Mario characters in that sense. It is not just like go find the thing and save the princess.
Yeah, no, I definitely hear you there, and I think that's how I also felt about Zelda 2. It's just like it's a fun game to play when I'm on the road, and I can pick it up and do a couple of shrines and do a couple side quests, and then kind of put it down for a while. And I really wanted to be more enraptured by it, and I think I just have gotten to a point where I'm like, you know what? I know these characters, I know these stories, I know these mechanics, and while they are, like I said, again, the execution is extreme. Like they've done a fantastic job making and building this game. I think I'm just at the point where I'm like, cool, I've had this. This is great. I will play this, when I have time to, but there's nothing to me drawing it. So instead, I went back to the games that I was sucked into for so many months and was able to turn away from. Because I was like, you know what I need in my life? Right. I need to go back to Paragon. Oh, my God.
So?
Oh, my God.
So?
Okay, first impression, coming back after 2 major updates. The graphics look gorgeous. They've completely overhauled the way that Agora looks, from the grass to the tower design to some of the characters look different, not like dramatically different, but like their facial animations and everything like looks different. It looks beautiful. The gameplay is frustrating, so much so that I think I have to take a major step back and go, I don't know if I can keep playing this game. And that bums me the fuck out. It really bums me out because I've put so many hours, hundreds upon hundreds of hours into this game. And it's not the game that I left. It's different. It's, some would argue that it's a better game, but they've changed the meta so many times in the last 3 months that even the players that the crew that I play with on a regular basis that I jumped into a match with, like 3 or 4 matches with actually last night, they were like, oh my gosh, you're back online, let's play. And so I played and I was like having to ask them all these questions. And they were like, honestly, it's a learning experience for us as every day we go along. Every week they change something. I'm like, how is that a thing that people are interested in? How can you ever achieve understanding of the mechanics that they're constantly changing the meta? Like, I get that there has to be iteration in order to get to a point where it feels balanced, it feels fun, it feels rewarding, but still feels challenging. And I get from a game design perspective, that's hard. There's a reason why there's only a handful of MOBAs that are popular, because MOBAs are really hard to make. And they're super complicated, and they have a lot of systems going on. And it takes thousands of hours to really become a master. If you talk to Dota 2 players, or even League of Legends players, some people that I know have been literally playing for 2,000 plus hours into this one game, and they still have systems that they don't understand and characters and items that they don't understand and high-level play. And that gives, a much bigger appreciation for people who compete on a professional level in esports arenas and tournaments and things like that. But I should be able to put 500 hours into a game and have a solid grasp of what the mechanics are. And if you're going to change it to the point where I have to spend another maybe 50 to 100 hours minimum relearning everything, I don't know if I got time for that.
That sounds like a hard nope to me.
It sounds like something a very beautiful person went in for plastic surgery and then went in again for plastic surgery and went in again and is now a shell of their former self.
Oh, no. That's horrible.
From a physical standpoint. But my major question, I understand that iteration is important. You have to do things to keep the kids entertained. However, what do you think prompted them to make such drastic changes?
Well, they knew that the player base was dropping off, right? Like there were not as many people playing the game, and that they wanted to stay competitive, particularly in the Asian markets, which they were going to be launching. Korea in particular was one of the big markets I think that they're targeting, or if they're not, why wouldn't they be targeting? Because that's where MOBAs are really big right now. And Tencent is a majority stakeholder in Epic Games. And so, of course, China has got to be on the radar for them as well. So what that means is that they need to tailor the game for those markets. They need to make it more competitive. They need to make it more engaging, because they just weren't seeing enough growth in player base in order to kind of keep going as is, right? Something needed to change. So they've made these substantial changes, but it feels like it's more of an action third-person hero game than it does feel like a MOBA. Because it feels like a lot of the objectives that you see in MOBAs about clearing minion waves, capturing towers, taking jungle camps, things that, are in high-level play are very specific, feel like they've kind of been dumbed down a little. And from the sense specifically when I was playing last night, it felt like in particular the towers were just second thought. Like they were super easy to dominate. You can tower dive, and it doesn't really matter. You don't even need to be a tank in order to tower dive, because like the tower power is just not very strong. And so like the penalty for going into the towers to attack other heroes just isn't there, just doesn't exist.
What? That's super weird.
I know.
Yeah.
That's what I thought too. Like we were playing a couple of matches last night, and there was one match where we just got steamrolled, and they came up to the inhibitor, which are supposed to be like the super strong towers that protect your core. And the core is like ultimately what you have to destroy in order to win the match. And the core went down in less than 3 seconds. And or not the core, the inhibitor. And I was like, how is that possible? Even with a full team of 5 steamrolling an inhib, unless it's super late game and everybody's like using their ult on the minions or is all attacking at once, the tower shouldn't drop that fast, because it makes the game sure, it makes the game quicker, but it makes the objectives like kind of worthless if you can just snap your fingers and bam, you've accomplished the objective. It's like it takes away the fun of the objective, the defensive part of the game, and instead it just becomes like a how many heroes can I kill? And then once you are dead in late game, it takes so long to respawn back in that you have no shot at winning, and so it doesn't feel fun. And if you're not having fun playing the game, then why are you playing the game? You know, and like
Exactly.
there previously back in even in early Monolith days and really legacy days on the original map when it was still like in early access instead of open beta, if I felt like I was putting a lot of time in, but even if I lost, I understood why we lost. It was like we didn't execute here. We didn't rotate here. They had an extra hero in this lane and we should have switched up our team comp. Like you could see where you screwed up. And now it doesn't feel that way. It feels like there are some heroes that are completely overpowered. There are some cards in the new card and gem system that are completely overpowered. The fighters don't scale. One of the girls that I play with had mentioned that it feels like you don't ever have to sacrifice power for tankiness. And so if you have a hero that continually builds, you can spec all of your cards for health, and then you don't sacrifice power, you just become an impossible tank to kill. And if there's like a whole section of like a whole third of all of the heroes that are like that, it's like, well, what are we doing here?
Awful. Yeah.
So like the balance is off. It's off. Yeah. It's still off. People that have played a while have said it's the best now than it's been in the past couple of months. But I'm like, I don't know, guys.
That's bad.
I don't know.
Why are you still playing it if this is the best it's been?
Because
not for
there's
you, but like those other people.
Because there's specific friends of mine who play this game who I only get to talk to if I play this game. And that
I didn't mean you. I meant them. Like, why are they still playing?
I don't know.
Find another game. Make them play Destiny with you.
I was going to say, let me guess. Your next game was Destiny 2.
Yes. So, clearly I've been excited about Destiny 2. I've mentioned on the podcast before, I'm ready, What's Good Guardians, to get back in. I got my clan engram this week. I'm ready to come back full force for Curse of Osiris and the new expansion. I had to put it down mostly because, like, there was a lot of other stuff to play, but also, like, it was getting repetitive. It was becoming Destiny again. And while I do think that they've done an excellent job of adding in enough extra content to really make the grind better this time around, it still feels like a grind 3 months in. And that's not surprising because, you know, I played a lot of Destiny when it first came out. Destiny 2, excuse me. And so I was like, okay, I want to make sure my character's ready and that I am not rusty and that I've got the exotics I need, and maybe I'll start my alt character. And really just loving that game and really find it getting the hooks like back in me about what I love and how the guns are so good. And I got back into Iron Banner, and I had some really good Iron Banner matches where my KDD was higher than 2, which never happens for me.
That's very impressive. As someone who's, I get it.
And I know there's probably some, you know, really fantastic FPS players out there listening to the show, but I love that I can play as a casual FPS fan, somebody who plays a lot of shooters. And I can jump in, and because of the time I've spent leveling my gear and how I've gotten comfortable with certain guns in the game, that I can get into a competitive event like Iron Banner and still feel like I'm competing and not feel like I'm being crushed. Like when I was playing Call of Duty World War II in multiplayer, it just wasn't fun because I just kept dying constantly. And like, at least in Destiny, like if I die, like I'm right back in the game, and at least like it's not constant death. Like there are bad matches and good matches, and it feels rewarding enough without me having to be an expert level player. And now that's reserved, of course, for the Trials of the Nine, which I don't do. But I'm glad that there's a PvP in an FPS game that I actually enjoy, because this is the first time in my life. I've played Halo, I've played Call of Duty, I played Battlefield, like I've played them all, right? Like this is the first game, Destiny was the first game where I really actually wanted to play PvP, and that's a feat. Good job,
Yeah, I
Remedy.
actually had a good time when I played with you in multiplayer, more so than I thought I would. And there was one match where my KD was also higher than 2, and I was like, and I think I was slightly drunk, and I was like, I'm king of the world, like I'm so good at this game. And I was like, I'm a baller, this is great. And then I think the next match I got rolled, but it was fine.
That's always the way it is too.
That's still a glory moment, Steimer. Hold on to that.
Oh,
Hold on to
totally.
that
I was
moment.
trying to grab a picture of it, and then it like switched as soon as I was like, damn it, missed it. So I didn't even remember what it was, but it was real good. You talked about Call of Duty for a second, Andrew, and I forgot that I didn't get to tell you guys about. I played Call of Duty World War II last week, but we talked too much about other things. And all I really want to do is read you my text messages that I sent to Brittany.
Please, can you?
And also, I would like to point out that I've now sent Brittany 6 messages, and she never responds to me.
What?
Oh no!
I feel like I text Brittany all the time, and I just am used to silence at this point.
Oh, you have. I am looking at these right now. No, do not take that personally. I was telling Steimer over Thanksgiving break, I essentially had my phone in airplane mode, but this goes beyond that. I apologize. I'm just really bad at my phone. After a certain time, I put my phone away, and I'm like, sorry, everyone. I'm on email, I'm on Facebook, but I can't have my phone. My phone is like a beacon of work. It's like, not for What's Good Games.
Speaking of me, I'm
What's Good
blowing up your phone.
Simon's like, I have
Sorry.
important gifts to send you, okay? You must look at my
Come
gifts.
on. Look at my cool gifts.
I need to
Why
get
don't you
a
wanna look at
separate
'em?
phone for What's Good Games. That'll
Can
be
I
my
have-
happy phone.
Can you have a Steimer phone, like a Steimer signal, where it's like Steimer wants to talk to you?
Yes, totally. For you, anything, Steimer.
Aw, thanks. So anyways, here's what and there's only a few, but my first question was, of course, how long is this game? How long is Call of Duty? Although I wrote Call if Duty, because
You did.
typo. Why is everyone in this game hot?
They are.
All of the soldiers, pretty
Even the
smoky.
It's all those
one.
Hollywood actors.
I know. Then the main narrator talks like Forrest Gump.
Oh, yeah.
And then my last thought was, okay, this first mission is just annoying. I started playing it on normal, which is what I usually do for pretty much every game. And I just got wrecked, like, multiple times. I mean, I think they call it prone or whatever. Like, I was on the ground, fucking crawling.
Oh,
That is
yeah.
what they call it,
That-
prone,
like,
yes.
For the long, and I'm like crawling behind things. I'm doing whatever I think I can to avoid machine gun fire. Yet somehow these fuckers up on the tower have eagle eyes and are only firing at me. And there's two of them, and it's just like like 2 directions of machine gun fire on my ass.
Welcome to
And-
being a video game protagonist.
And I was like, what the? There's like 300 dudes in the field here with me. Can you maybe not
talking
target
about-
me this hard?
Normandy? Is that
Yes,
the
literally,
yeah,
the
yeah.
first mission is the beaches of
No,
Normandy.
that was a tricky mission, and for me, I play still every shooter baby ass baby mode, so I was on easy, and my dad was over, and he was watching me play, and even he tried because I had the same issue, Steimer. I felt like no matter where I went, I was getting shot, and restarted that level probably a dozen times.
I did too, and then eventually I finally bumped it down to baby ass baby mode, and then that's when I could get through it. Like I got through
Wow.
it the first time on baby ass baby mode, but like on normal,
Of course.
I was horrified. I was like, what is happening?
Which is
How did they
interesting.
kill me?
Because I feel like that was probably the most difficult mission in the entire game.
It really was awful, and like somebody else brought this up, and I was like, oh, it's a good point. I think the reason why it was really hard for me as well, or for anybody who's getting into the game, is because health works so much differently in this Call of Duty than it does in other ones. And this one you have to have a healing pack, and you have to heal yourself
Like the traditional.
instead of you just stand and not get hit by a machine gun fire, and then your health will go up. So I think for a few rounds it took me a minute to even realize that was happening, because I'm like, okay, I've been out of, they haven't been hitting me for a while. I'm probably fine now. Nope.
But the
Still only
screen's
have,
still
like, 20
red, it's
health. Yeah.
pulsating. Yeah.
And I was like, at first I was like, what is going on? And then I realized, oh, your health doesn't go back up when you're out of fire like it normally does. But I do think that the characters are interesting. I find it mighty convenient that your entire squad makes it off the beaches of Normandy.
Mighty
but other than
convenient.
that, mighty convenient indeed. They all had plot armor on that day.
I forgot about that term. That's wonderful.
That
Yeah.
is a good term.
But yeah, so I've just barely scratched. I've like played a few hours of it, but
It's good.
digging
It's
it.
real good. Oh, so many good games. I love it. Love it.
Spoiled for choice, indeed.
Mhm.
Well,
Hmm.
that's probably going to wrap up our hands-on segment for this week. We, of course, will be back next week with more impressions for you. Of course, you're always welcome to write us with what games you're playing. If there's something that you think that we should try or that we haven't talked about that you would like to hear more about, you can email us at contact@whatsgoodgames.com. You can message us on Facebook at facebook.com/whatsgoodgames. You can tweet to us at whatsgood_games. Let us know what you guys have been playing and what you think about what we've been playing. For now, we're going to take another quick break before we get into our last segment of the show. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to the final segment of the What's Good Games podcast. This one's going to be a little on the short side because we have another thing we have to do immediately after recording this tonight. So thank you for your patience and appreciation. So, question. We got a reader mail, which, of course, as we've mentioned previously on the show, you can email us at contact@whatsgoodgames.com. We'll throw your question into our reader mailbag. We'll dig through it every once in a while and be like, this one looks cool. And this week, that question is from William Norton. He writes, first of all, I discovered your podcast just a week ago, and I've listened to all of them since. Wow, that's a lot of hours of listening because we are on episode 29 this week.
Oh my God, we're almost 30.
I know. We just turned 21 not that long ago. We're
I was
aging
just
so
thinking that.
fast.
The fastest aging process ever.
The novelty of drinking has worn off.
I know, right?
Now we're old and disgruntled.
We're not that old. Come on.
I know.
He continues, since then, it's something nice to listen to while I'm at work. But aside from all that, I am a very devoted gamer and love video games, collecting, all that jazz. Just 6 months ago, oh, excuse me, I skipped a line. Love listening while I'm at work, but aside from that, I am a very devoted gamer and love video games, collecting, all that jazz. 6 months ago, I got married to a wonderful woman who was kind of new to video games. Aside from Minecraft and Roblox and beating me on Injustice, I want her to get into other games such as Tomb Raider, Horizon Zero Dawn, and more involved titles like so. My question to you all is, what was it that got you into video games the way you are today, and do you think that affects the way you play these such titles? Aside from that, love the show. You guys rock. Keep doing what you're doing and have a wonderful rest of the week, month, year, however you want to see. Wait, what?
What?
Thank you. With much appreciation. P.S. Your podcast is what's making me want to buy a Switch. You should.
William,
want
wait,
to-
wait, wait. Sorry, I gotta interrupt you. William is the guy I was talking about that I recommended Divinity Original Sin to, his wife. That's the guy who sent the email.
Gotcha.
I did not put two and two together. Hello, William.
There you go.
Liking that.
My only thing, like, I want to answer his question with another question, which is, why? Like, do you want to get her involved in other games? If so, what's the motivation there? Like, is it that you just think she'll appreciate the story? Is it that you like, or has she expressed an interest but has been like intimidated by them? I just think it's sort of, I'm hoping that it's of the mind that she is interested but intimidated, and not that he's like, I want you to play this thing.
Yeah, that's the feeling I have got from speaking with William about Divinity Original Sin 2. I mean, for example, Jason really wants to get into RPGs, but he doesn't have the patience for turn-based combat unless he and I are playing together. Well, there aren't that many cooperative games, so I struggle to find, like, okay, how could I possibly get you into this mystic lore without boring you to death with gameplay? I think that's kind of where he's coming from.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me as well. And there are certainly games that over the course of my career and over my hobby as a gamer that I have just not played because I just have no interest in them. And take, for example, the genre of first-person shooters. I didn't start playing first-person shooters until Halo Reach. Halo Reach was the first-person shooter that I played start to finish. And
Wow.
that was
Mine
a really
was Halo
defining.
3.
That was a Xbox 360. It was, I
Yeah.
believe, 2010. Let me look it up really quick.
Wait, no, that's a lie, because I played Wolfenstein as a kid.
See, I never played Wolfenstein. Yeah, 2010 is when it launched, and I never played first-person shooter games before because I had okay. Technically, I played GoldenEye. I mean, I played like Turok and played some games like on N64. But I mean,
you mean like this semi-current generation?
Right. I mean, I never was into FPS games where I like wanted to play them or wanted to buy them or wanted to be in that side of the game. I've obviously gone back and played older games, the Halo franchise at large, for the Master Chief Collection, and played a bunch of other FPS games that are, kind of considered legacy games. The game that really kind of turned the tides for me for FPS was BioShock. Going back and playing that game because I had just heard so much about it. And I was very much like a platform, puzzle, gamer, arcade racing games were my thing. Really loved action adventure. I was really big into the Assassin's Creed franchise back then. And FPS just never really kind of struck a chord because it's challenging. It's one of the more challenging genres of gameplay from a mechanics standpoint. The dual sticks, the moving and looking with the individual sticks is something that takes a lot of practice. And that's why it's sometimes very difficult if you have somebody in your life who is not a gamer and you want them to be a gamer so you can game together. That is the biggest hurdle in getting them over the hump into wanting to play the game and wanting to have that experience. She's never really going to appreciate the amazing narrative and the art and the characters in a game like Horizon Zero Dawn if she's constantly frustrated because she's spinning and staring at the sky or spinning and staring at the ground. Right? And that's what happens when you have to learn how to play a first-person game or even a third-person game. You can still have those challenges.
Basically, any game where you have to control the camera.
Exactly.
It takes a lot of effort getting used to, and that's so I was a primarily PC gamer for most of my life, so I didn't have a whole lot of issues with camera really. Like you just this is the ground, right? The desk is the ground. It's fine. And then when I started playing console, when I got my job at Edelman and I was working on the Xbox 360 accounts, I was like, okay, well I need to get back into this because during college I kind of went quiet. I was studying obviously and trying to do my parents proud. And so I picked up, and this is the thing I still recommend, and you can still play this on the Xbox One, Viva Pinata. And I talk about this game all of the time, but for a very good reason. It is a fantastic teaching game for somebody who doesn't know how to control the camera and use movement at the same time. Because that's exactly what you're doing. It's a first-person game, technically, but the gameplay is super low key in that nothing's gonna run out and kill you. You're not being chased. There's low stakes. You're just planting some plants. You're gonna farm some pinatas. You're gonna maybe make some babies. It's all chill here, right? So that's something that I started playing, and that's how I personally learned how to use the sticks on the controller. And then I kind of graduated on. I definitely played BioShock, although I was reluctant to play it at first because I thought it was going to be too scary.
It's a semi-scary game.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that I pushed through that and played it anyway because it was fantastic.
Oh, the first time I played BioShock, I got freaked out. I made it past the first 5 minutes. I think it's the first God, what are they called? The bad guys in BioShock. Splicers. And that scared me enough that I shelved it for a few months after that.
Really? You Brit, master of the scary game?
You girl who screams and looks for the thing she's screaming at in the eye.
I have grown much in my day. No, seriously, I was a little a wussy back in my time, even though I played all the Resident Evil games. But that was only because I had the cheats on, so I knew I couldn't die. So I was able to enjoy the story. So my biggest gaming influence growing up was my grandma, and she would always suggest games to me. She suggested Final Fantasy, the Breath of Fire games. She introduced me to Zelda. So a lot of what she would recommend to me, I would play, and I was very narrow-minded in that sense. RPGs are the only thing that I really like, and through that, I developed a deep appreciation for story and characters. And it wasn't until I started becoming super involved in the community back when I started blogging on the IGN community blogs in 2009 that I started learning about other games and that other genres could have just as good stories as an RPG. So BioShock was something that was recommended to me. Mass Effect, even though like it's an RPG at its core, it doesn't, it's a sci-fi shooter hybrid RPG thing, and I got introduced to that because of people in the community. Unfortunately, I missed out on some games because of that. Like Metal Gear Solid is a game I always wish I would have played. I know it's like one of those things, but it has such
Simon and I are both like, meh.
We both just shrugged.
No, because we've had this conversation.
It's probably fine.
Well, I know, and we've had this conversation about Metal Gear Solid, but it's like one of those things I wish I could have at least tried, but today I don't think I'll get to it. Yeah, does that answer the question?
I
Sure.
don't know.
Thank you,
Sure.
William. You're
Yeah.
the best. Like Divinity Original Sin 2 with your wife. It's great.
Well, I think, just to like expand a little bit on his question of like, do you think that affects the way that you play, such titles today, and what was it that got you into video games the way you are today? Like, clearly we as professionals that work in the video games industry are required to step outside of our comfort zone, or even outside games that are particularly in our interest, in order for the sake of diversifying our horizon of what games we've played, in order to be able to have a more well-rounded opinion and be able to speak educated, or to speak, informed about these titles and about these studios, about these genres. And you can't do that unless you play the games, right? And you have those personal firsthand experiences with these characters, with these mechanics. And that's really the driving force behind why I've played a lot of the games that I played now. Because if I was purely playing games that I wanted to play, there was a ton of games that I never would have looked at. And that is, to the detriment to my personal experience with games. Because there's been games that I kind of got dragged into kicking and screaming, and then I came out the other side going, wow, I can't believe I was going to ignore that game. And that would have been a travesty for me to not actually have that experience just because I looked at the surface level information, whether it be box art, whether it be like a pull quote from a review, or even just like a tweet or something somebody said about the game, and me being like, whatever, that game looks stupid, I'm not interested, right? Like, so many times that happens, especially now when there's just so many games. It's hard to really kind of parse all of the information and go, what's a good game in order for me to play? And it's even more difficult in William's case, where he's trying to get somebody in his life who's clearly not a lifelong gamer into trying more complex games. I would say you don't want to jump into a game like Tomb Raider or jump into a game like Horizon Zero Dawn. You want to start with something a little bit more basic, something a little bit more approachable, something shorter, maybe something like Journey, which is, a really nice short experience that you could play side by side, or you could play passing the controller back and forth, that will allow her to like experience the camera controls, as Steimer mentioned in Viva Pinata, but also kind of a game that is critically acclaimed and won a bunch of Game of the Year awards when it came out. Start with smaller, more bite-sized things before you jump into like a 70-plus hour open world game.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
That's very good advice. Don't just be like, here you go, enjoy, because she's probably not going to have a good time.
No, a game I always recommend that people play. Simon, I think you played this back in the day. Kalimba, right?
Yes.
Kalimba, I always get it mixed with its original title, which was Project Totem. But Kalimba is a really, really fun game to play with someone. Grab a friend, grab your wife, grab anyone, grab your dog. Never mind, your dog can't. But grab your wife. And also try games like that, because it sounds like in your case she's pretty familiar with controls. But if you have someone in your life who's not so familiar with controls, platformers are a great way to start.
Yeah, very much so. Much
Usually
easier.
pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Because most people, at least if they've never played Mario, they know what Mario is, so they kind of have an understanding of like, I'm on a flat plane and I can jump and move, and that's it.
It's kind of funny because Jason's parents wanted to play a video game. They kind of know what I do, but they don't quite understand it. And so his mom, who's like in her early 60s, she's like, I want to play a video game. I'm like, all right, let's start with some Super Mario World. Let's see how this goes. Oh man, they didn't know how they couldn't figure out the jump button. They couldn't figure out like that you're supposed to jump over things. They kept running into things. It was really sweet. So I guess also just have patience as well.
Don't be too
Very
much of a backseat gamer, I would say.
Yeah, I think to us it seems like a really simple concept. You run and you jump over things and you keep walking right. But that's a very foreign concept to some people.
Well, I mean, and also, like, you want to figure it out on your own, right? Like, that's what's tough about particularly doing puzzle games in a demo situation, because, like, the dev or, like, the PR person is standing over your shoulder watching you try to figure out the puzzle. I remember when I played The Last Guardian at E3 in the PlayStation press booth, and there was only, like, one station, and, like, it was super hard to get appointments for, and I was playing it, and the guy whose appointment was behind me was got there early and was just standing there watching me play, and I felt so much pressure because I didn't know what I was doing. So the best thing also is to do is to just give them space. Like, if there's somebody you want to, like, introduce a game to, help them learn the mechanics and then let them figure it out on their own. Let them fail on their own without you there being like, oh, you did this wrong. Because we all know that sucks. We don't want people telling us when we're screwing up. We know we screwed up. Let me screw up by myself and fix it on my own and get better.
Right, and it makes it more confusing when you tell them that they're screwing up and doing something wrong, because if you're like me, you need to know why you screwed up and why you did something wrong, and the best way to do that is experience it yourself. At those demo stations, like you're saying, Andrea, if I'm trying to, like, figure out what I'm doing, the demo guy or girl is like, okay, you got to push this here, and you got to push this button here, and do this and do that. I'm like, but why? And it's like, why? Leave me alone. So yeah, just echoing what you said.
Yeah, I agree with this, with the space thing, because I think, as I was saying, like, there's nothing more annoying than you trying to figure something out and having someone be like right fucking there. Just like, meh. And you're like, no, just like, so make sure that they know the basics, and then get out of the room, go somewhere else, leave them alone, and then be like, if you need something very badly, I will be over there. You can come to me if you need to, but, like, I just get out of their hair. Because I think that's, like, I would not have fallen in love with games if somebody was standing behind me the whole time being like, you need to go collect the thing over in the corner. I would just be like, video games are annoying. That's what I probably would have thought.
Yeah. Indeed. But thank you very much for your question, William. Definitely an interesting one, and one that we've gotten different iterations for. There have been other people who have written in with similar questions saying, hey, you know, like, I love games. How do I get somebody in my life to also love games so I can play games with this person that I love? And I think, you know, when we have a hobby we love, like, we all, if you listen to the show, I have to assume that you love video games. Otherwise, I don't know how you got here. But
welcome.
But we get it. And so hopefully these tips have helped you out. And of course, you know, if you guys have additional tips or things that you've found, or stories of people in your life that you've explored or introduced games to, that we would love to hear those. So let us know. Don't forget, you can reach out to us. Britt, there's so many ways that people can reach out to us. What are just a few of them?
Just a few of those ways. You can go to facebook.com/whatsgoodgames. You can go to twitter.com/whatsgood_games. Instagram, contact at sorry.
You're like, it's just not even bother.
Contact at whatsgoodgames.com, and you can see all of our content on our website at whatsgoodgames.com.
Exactly. We appreciate you guys tuning in every week. If you have not yet gone to your favorite podcast app and rated our show or subscribed to our show, we would love it if you could do that. It would really help us out. Leave us a rating, leave us a review if you're so inclined. Subscribe to us on YouTube, leave us some comments, maybe follow us on Twitter. We love interacting with you and engaging with you and having convos with you about video games. So thank you so much for listening. We will be back next week, but before we go, we won't have another show that airs before the Game Awards. The voting will end on December 6th, which is next Wednesday. So hopefully you're listening to this before then. You can vote daily. You can vote from Facebook and you can vote from Google. Again, Trending Gamer Vote is all you have to Google, and then it comes right up at the top there. Or if you go to our Facebook page, we've got a link for you to click there. You can go to thegameawards.com and vote there. Greatly would appreciate your support. It would be amazing for What's Good Games and all that we've accomplished. And I appreciate all the messages you guys have been sending me. It's like so humbling, and you guys are so kind and have been saying nice things, and I can't thank you enough. So thank you again for all the support, and We will see you guys next week. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody. Bye.